So I'm recording this for my mom. She wants to see this, just so you guys know. You guys won't be in the car with us.
Oh.
It'll just be me. All right, you guys ready to rock?
Yes.
All right, we'll start out with a little funny. You guys remember the Ebola crisis not too long ago? It was all over the media, right? And how many people did Ebola kill in the United States? Nobody in the United States. Meanwhile, obesity kills 300,000, smoking 450,000, alcohol, that's a big number. It's a big number. Okay. Who here thinks it's important that we need to take care of our own health? Okay. And what are some of the things that you guys have done to either increase your health or at least stay healthy?
Change their diet. Don't smoke.
No smoke. Okay, so diet, not smoking. Exercise. Is that what you're gonna say, Tom? Sleep. Getting plenty of sleep. Okay. Anyone else want to pipe in?
Cut out sugar.
Cut out sugar. That's
White
good.
flour.
Yeah, white flour is bad. Yeah. Sugar and white flour, you cut that alone, those two things, it'll make a big change in your lifestyle. No, I agree with those things. Now, this is my health insurance card. Okay? Does this pay for any of those things? Does this pay for a gym membership? Does this pay for organic food? Doesn't pay for any of those things, does it? So it's a misnomer really that this is a health insurance card because you use this when you're sick. Okay? So we have a healthcare crisis in this country. I think you guys will all agree. And do you guys think that things are starting to get a little bit better regarding our healthcare crisis, or are things getting worse?
A little bit better.
Think they're getting a
I
little
think they're
better?
getting worse.
It depends. There
Sorry,
depends.
yeah.
Where'd you come up with that?
Vicky, statistically, it's getting worse, and it's going to continue to get worse. You know, unfortunately, which we're going to kind of get into tonight. You know, our healthcare industry really doesn't have our best interests in mind. You know, they are a large conglomerate corporation, if you will, and any company, their job is to make money for their stockholders and for their citizens. So we are in crisis care in this country. And I want to show you guys a really quick video here. This movie is called Escape Fire. I recommend that you guys write this down and watch this. This is a 2-minute clip. It's a phenomenal movie.
The American healthcare system is badly broken.
The present system doesn't work, and it's going to take us down. We need a whole new kind of medicine.
We're in the grip of a very big industry, and it doesn't want to stop making money.
If I spend 5 minutes with you and then put in one of these stents, probably get paid $1,500. For me to spend 45 minutes with the patient to try to figure out what their true problem is, probably get paid $15. It's a completely irrational system.
We don't have a healthcare system in this country. We have a disease management system.
We're spending almost twice as much in America as any other country on earth, but our lifespan isn't even in the top 20.
30,000 Medicare recipients die each year from care they didn't need. That's the equivalent of a jumbo jet crashing every single week. If the aviation industry killed as many people, we'd be up in arms.
The administration pays you based on how many patients you see. All right, who's next? If you try and buck the system, someone says, what can we do to get your productivity up? I'm not interested in getting my productivity up. I'm interested in helping patients.
Seeing the military just being a microcosm of the problems society's having.
Soldiers' use of prescription drugs has tripled in the past 5 years.
Medications I was on.
Only by accepting that the American healthcare system is badly broken will we be able to seek out the escape fires, the potential solutions. There are answers.
One company has figured out how to lower healthcare costs by more than 40%.
We provide incentives for people to engage in healthier behaviors.
The Army Surgeon General directed that we establish the Pain Management Task Force to take a look at alternatives to narcotics.
I was skeptical, so skeptical.
I've gotten a lot of inspiration, a different perspective. There's a different way of doing things that is possible.
If I think about what healthcare could be like, it would have a lot more care in it.
The healthcare system is unsustainable. really mortgaging the future. Not just the health of healthcare, but the health of the nation.
Pretty scary stuff, huh? Now, are those doctors in the movie, are they bad doctors? No, no. Are your doctors bad doctors that you go to? No. But they're handcuffed, they're tied to the system that's broken. Okay? We have a good crisis care system, which I'll get into in a minute, but as far as taking care of like long-term disease and things like that, we're a major gap. Out of 191 developed countries, our overall health, this is according to the World Health Organization, our overall health is number 37. Yet we have the best doctors, the best teaching facilities, the best hospitals, and all that. We also take half the world's pharmaceutical drugs in the United States. Now, before I go farther, I'm not anti-drug. I'm not an anti-medical doctor or anything like that. Okay, I work with Melanie, and she works with medical doctors as well. So her being in my office helps me to be able to treat people much better. So I utilize that in my office, but we take way too much of that stuff in this country. You guys agree with that? So like I said, we have a really good crisis care system, but it's important to understand that crisis care does not equate with healthcare. Let's say I'm driving home tonight, and God forbid I'm in a terrible car accident. My legs across the street, my hands over there. There's no better country or place to be in the United States for that type of medicine. You know, they can bring us back to the brink of death and all those kinds of things. They're great. I want to have an analogy here with you guys. Let's say that you get home and your house is on fire. Okay? Dan, if that were to happen, who are you going to call for your house? I hope so. We're going to call the fire department. And the fire department's going to come with their axes and their hoses, right? And they're going to cause some damage to your house. But hopefully they're going to put that fire out, right? Okay. So in the morning now, fire's out, your house is safe. Are you going to call the fire department to come back and fix your house? What would the average intelligent person want to do? Call insurance company, but you're going to want to know what caused the fire, right? Like if it was a short in the electrical system or something like that. And then you're going to fix the darn thing so it doesn't happen again. See, but we don't do that with our health. And I'm going to get into this as we go along. It'll make more sense to you guys. 70% of all diseases in the United States are lifestyle-related diseases. So what does that mean, Donna? Lifestyle-related. And if you don't want to, that's okay. So I'll help you out. So lifestyle means like, you know, things that we do or don't do to take care of ourselves.
We don't give the right rest.
Mm-hmm.
You eat things you're not supposed to.
Exactly. That's correct. More scary statistics, guys. This is, anybody heard of the British Medical Journal? It's a very prestigious journal. It's one of the top prestigious journals out there. All doctors read this. 85% of all medical procedures and surgeries are scientifically unproven. 85%. That's not me, some crazy chiropractor saying this. Okay, this is a medical journal that's letting us know. Here's the scarier one. 90% of all diseases prevalent today are not treatable with orthodox medical procedures. That's a big number, right? That's like 90%. Like 9 out of 10. That's huge. So what can we do? There's a lot of wrong and misleading information out there, like a lot of us fall prey to. Perhaps we've seen this before on TV. Something like the ab roller, right?
Yeah.
Is that the fix for our healthcare crisis? Is that gonna, you know, how many times do I have to roll my fat together to make it go away? Is that gonna help? We've all done this. We do this meaning well, okay? But do you think that the models that advertise things like this, do you think that's how they really got that way? I mean, they work their butts off. They're paid to promote these products. You know what this is? It's an expensive clothes hanger, because that's what it ends up being in most people's lives. You know, we mean well, we use it for a while, throw it in the corner, and throw jackets on it, and things like that. So that may not be the solution. How about being more proactive? Oh, you're fine. Anybody here have a dog? Okay. Should we take our dog for a walk? Maybe that's the solution. I mean, it's a funny picture, right?
If your dog goes on a leash.
It helps the dog, but you know, it's not necessarily helping the owner. It probably needs the exercise worse than the dog does. Now, we laugh about this, but actually, I lived in Durango for some time, and I had a neighbor that had 2 Weimaranes, and she would go out on her quads and ride around the neighborhood, and that's how she would walk the dogs. So people do this type of thing. I'm doing this to be funny, but this is kind of what we do in this country. We're kind of not the most active people. So what do you guys think? Does our system want us to be healthy?
No.
In all honesty.
No.
Why? Vicky?
Because it wouldn't make money
Bingo.
if we were healthy.
Bingo. I always was like curious, why are insurance companies up in arms over the premiums? Well, this is why. Insurers generally earn a profit by charging a premium of claims that they pay. So they don't necessarily have an incentive to crack down on excess spending. They're a bookie. They're getting a sales commission, essentially. So between the monthly premiums that you pay and then the sales commission they get from each premium that they pay out or each claim that they pay out, where's the incentive to change for that? It's a brilliant system from a business standpoint. It sucks, pardon my French, for us. You know, they say, what's the old saying, poop runs down the bottom of the hill? You know, and we're all kind of at the bottom there. You know, they really, really don't care about us. They don't want us to die. They don't want us to be healthy. They want us to be sick enough that we participate in the system. And hopefully as we age, we're going to be a better participant and make them more money, because what age group takes the most pharmaceutical drugs and has the most health problems of all the world? Yeah, seniors, right? Here's a stat that'll blow your mind. 106,000 deaths a year, okay, to pharmaceutical drugs. Again, I'm not anti-drug, it has its place. Have you guys ever heard of what's called off-label use with medication? It's when you use a medication for something other than what it was designed for. These statistics do not include that. This is strictly off-label use, okay? Tylenol, over-the-counter Tylenol, see a minute, costs $500 a year. And the sad part about the Tylenol is a lot of them are children, because Tylenol is very toxic to your liver. And the dosage between what's therapeutic and what's toxic is really, really close. So parents that have children giving Tylenol have to be really, really careful. That's just a particular, it's a really, really nasty drug. Also, we're kind of brainwashed from the beginning. 1 out of every 3 drug commercials is for a drug. If you watch during prime time, it's even more than that. You know? You watch during football, and it's all about Viagra and commercials like that for men. You know, you watch during the afternoon, and it's stuff for women and menopause and bladder issues and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's brilliant marketing on their part. You hear this subconsciously a few thousand times, and their marketing works, or else they wouldn't be doing it. So let's talk a little bit more about pharmaceutical drugs. So if you go to the doctor, let's say, okay, Tom, let's say that you have high blood pressure. Okay. If you go to the doctor for high blood pressure, medical doctor, what is he or she going to do for you? Okay, they're going to prescribe the blood pressure medication, right, to bring it down. Now, was it lack of the blood pressure medication in your bloodstream that caused you to have high blood pressure? Think about that. What was it probably? Exactly, not taking care of ourselves, and over time it kind of catches up with us, right? It's the same thing, you know. Viagra, lack of Viagra in the bloodstream doesn't cause ED in men. You know, a lack of insulin doesn't cause diabetes. A lack of Advil doesn't cause headaches. But what we're doing here essentially is we're just putting these fires out with our body as far as we have a problem, and it's symptom control. It's putting the fire out. It's not getting to the root cause of what's causing the fire, aka our health problems or symptoms, etc. I'm going to get to hormones, I promise. I know you guys are excited to hear about hormones. Don't worry, there's a process here. So let's talk a little bit about traditional medical care versus holistic care. Now, I'm a licensed chiropractor. Okay, but I do a lot of other things under my license besides chiropractic care that I specialize in. But medical care, traditional medical care, puts the body into compartments. You've got your heart doctor, your liver doctor, your kidney doctor, etc., right? Have you ever heard the saying, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts? Right? We've all heard that. that in a nutshell is what holistic care is. Holistic care looks at the body as a whole. If a patient comes to me with a problem, a health issue, whatever it may be, I want to know what system or systems, what body parts aren't working right that are leading to this patient being in my office or having a health concern, whatever it may be. And then if we can determine what those parts are, if we can do something to basically jumpstart those parts to get them working properly, then the need to take prescription medication is either decreased or totally not there. Does that make sense, guys? And that in a nutshell is the difference between traditional medical care and holistic care. So we really need to be proactive. Now, anybody recognize this guy?
Jack LaLanne.
Yeah. He had this idea a long time ago. I'm not here to sell you juicer. Okay, just so you know, I'm sorry if you want one. I used to watch Jack LaLanne's TV show when I was growing up. By the way, he was a chiropractor, he was trained as a chiropractor, but he got into the health and fitness industry. He's 80 years old in that picture. How many 25-year-olds look that good? Okay? You know how old he lived to be? He was 96 years old. 96 years old. So anyone that comes to me and says, I'm too old, poppycock. No matter how old you are, you can make positive changes in your health. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that he did, okay? Now, I'm in my late 40s. Let's say when he did it at 44, he maneuvered a paddleboard 30 miles, 9.5 hours, from the Farallon Islands to the San Francisco shore. Is there anybody here who's 70? Okay. 74. Let's see what he did when he was 70. Now this happened to be in 1984. Handcuffed, shackled, and fighting strong winds and currents, he towed 70 boats with 70 people from the Queensway Bridge in Long Island Beach Harbor to the Queen Mary, a mile and a half. His 70th birthday. And I just do this to show this to you guys to give you an idea of what the body's potential is. You know, it's really, really sad that we kind of take for granted, you know, as we get older, that we don't take care of ourselves and that our body's going to decline. Now, obviously, none of us get out of that, but it's a quality of life, and we're never too old to improve our quality of life. Anybody have stress in this room? We're all overstimulated in this society, right? Now, when we think about stress, this is kind of the visual we think about, right? Someone pulling their hair out, you know, Tom's driving me crazy, you know, today, whatever it may be, yeah. Our children, our bosses at work, our co-workers, that jerk that just cut me off on I-25, whatever it may be. We think of mental stress, but you guys may or may not know that there's actually 3 different types of stress that our body undergoes on a daily basis. There's physical stress, there's chemical stress, and then there's a typical emotional stress. So Roma, what are some examples of physical stress that someone might have on a daily basis?
Working too hard, like being a housewife, like working in the yard. If you're working on a job, a lot of working, a lot of time.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How about somebody who sits at a desk 8 hours a day? That's a form of stress, right? You know, I've been practicing 20 years now, and when I first started practicing, the #1 workers' comp injury was low back. Now the #1 #1 workers' comp injury is neck, shoulder, and arm issues from what we call desk jobs, people who sit at a desk all day. And I have several patients, maybe some of you guys do this yourself, that have 2 computer screens in front of their work. And they have to utilize 2 screens. I mean, so they're just going back and forth all day long. How about chemical stress? Margie, some examples of chemical stress.
Taking too many Advil.
Amen. How about the air we breathe around here, especially in the winter with the brown cloud?
Pollution, not eating healthy foods.
Exactly. You know, preservatives that are in our foods, exposure to pesticides and things like that. Even the water that we drink, you know, can be toxic to our body as well. You know, a lot of water now is heavily fluoridated, and too much fluoride is not good for us. So there's a lot of well-meaning things that we do, not thinking that we're putting toxic things or exposing ourselves to toxic substances. And then the emotional stress, which we covered before, which is really, really obvious. And in today's world, we're so overstimulated that this is a real common thing. A lot of people are way stressed out. Now, our bodies need a certain amount of stress. It's called eustress, EU stress, to be healthy. But we get way too much stress. Anybody here eat? Hopefully soon, right? So you'd never know that this is actually the definition of what the purpose of food is. There's a saying that in the United States that we live to eat versus eating to live, and that we eat ourselves to an early grave. And there really is a lot of truth to that. Now, when I was growing up, and I'm sure you guys probably can agree with a lot of this, going to McDonald's, or McDonald's as my dad would call it, was a rare thing. Of course, as kids, we wanted to go all the time, right? But our parents knew that it was the best food for us, so we would do it as a treat every now and then. But in today's world, it's a staple of a lot of our diets. My office over on Arapahoe Road, I am in the same building as a Schlotzsky's. And I'm not a fan of Schlotzsky's, but I recognize the same people week in and week out parking in front of my office, going, and these are business people, these are smart, educated people that you know better. They're going over there, ordering their food, and then I see them walking back with a monster soda. And this is something that these people do week in and week out. So can you see how this can maybe have a not so good effect on our health? Kind of putting the picture together here. Obesity. 65% of Americans are either overweight or obese. Now, we're the skinniest state, if you will, Colorado. Colorado, Utah, and Montana have the lowest obesity rates. Anyone want to guess what our obesity rate is as the skinniest state? Throw a number, Tom. We're the skinniest. What do you think our obesity rate is in Colorado? We're not that bad yet. We're not that bad yet. Our obesity rate in Colorado is 21%. Yep. That means statistically 1 out of every 5 people is obese in Colorado. And we're the skinny ones. Okay? Who wants to guess what Colorado's obesity rate was in 1990? Which was, well, it doesn't seem like 25 years ago, but wasn't Y2K like 3 years ago? But anyway, who wants to? 10%. 10%. Lower.
9%.
6.5%. So in 25 years, our obesity rate in Colorado, the skinniest state that they kick you out if you don't do extreme sports or something, has gone from 6.5% to 20%. Okay. Now, if we were to go in the Wayback Machine and go back to 1990 with our 20%, 21% obesity rate, we would be the fattest state. We would go back to 1990. Does that make sense? You guys follow me with that? It's just that the rest of the country is a little ahead of us. Down here, the Bible Belt, they have all that good taste in the food and stick to your ribs and all that yummy stuff. You know, the barbecue capital, that's where obesity rates are highest. I think Mississippi has the highest, and I think they're right at 39%. And there's other figures. I mean, diabetes is going through the roof. Diabetes has tripled in the last 10 years, and which really, and I'm talking type 2 diabetes, which is preventable. And more children are developing this under 15. That is actually the biggest age group where type 2 diabetes is experiencing. And that's really, pardon my French, we're screwed if we don't do something in this country. We really are. So I think you guys are starting to kind of get a picture here on how we lose our health. You know, by not getting rid of stress, by not exercising, and by not eating. It's a lifestyle. 70% of all diseases are lifestyle related. As a result of this, it throws our hormones off balance. In addition to just making us tired all the time, it will put our hormones off. Now, hormones are an amazing thing to talk about from a clinical standpoint, but it's boring when I'm talking in public about it. So if you guys are ever have insomnia, give me a call. We'll talk hormones and I'll put you to sleep, okay? Now, the endocrine system is a communication pathway that utilize hormones to communicate. Just like our nervous system uses electrical impulses, our endocrine system goes through every tissue and organ is involved with that, and our organs and tissues talk to each other through the endocrine system, also through the nervous system. Now, to keep things simple here, I've listed a few fat-burning hormones on one side and a few fat-storing hormones on the other. Now, we need all of these, but we need them in the right ratio. And as a result of our lifestyle, pollution, drugs, not exercising, not eating the right foods, these hormones, the ratio goes off. And depending on which hormone or hormones goes off kilter, so to speak, will affect us as far as where we hold on to fat. Now, for simplicity's sake, I divided this up into 4 different body types here. Now, the one on the far left is what we call the estrogen body. Now, this is when you have an excess of estrogen. More common in women, but it does happen in men. And typically, you'll accumulate fat in the waist, the hips, and the legs, what women call saddlebags. The adrenal gland is like you took the butt and put it on the belly. There's no butt, but a big, big belly, and it's all soft and flat. It's all abdominal fat. That's very, very common in the adrenal. The thyroid body is more evenly distributed in the trunk and legs, but you also get, is this called the wings that women? But also in the back of the arms here. It's common for fat deposits to be there. And men, not to be left out, but this does happen to women as well, the liver body, or what we call the Milwaukee goiter. You know, the guy that keeps his six-pack in a cooler, so to speak, right? Now, if you were to look at this guy from the back, he'd typically be a skinny little man, okay, no butt, pants hanging down. Look at him from the side, it looks like he was 9 months pregnant. And if you were to touch that, it would be hard, because it's not fat, it's actually fluid. It's called ascites, because the liver is so sick that it's essentially leaking extracellular fluid into the abdomen. And that's basically one step away from I mean, our liver is an amazing, amazing thing. There's hundreds of functions, but alcohol is really, really hard on the liver, and that's the biggest thing that causes liver imbalance is too much alcohol. Make sense so far, guys? Okay. Has anybody in this room ever had blood work? Okay. Now, have you ever been told that your blood work is normal, but you still have symptoms? Have you ever heard that? Okay. It does happen. Let's explain why that may be. We're going to talk about TSH. Now, TSH, again, you guys start falling asleep, let me know, we're talking hormones. TSH is abbreviation for thyroid stimulating hormone. It's produced by a little gland in the brain called the pituitary, and it has an effect on the thyroid. TSH numbers, if you will, what are called clinical numbers. If you go to the medical doctor, the TSH number is going to be from about 0.3 to 5.7. Now, this is called the clinical number. These numbers can fluctuate a little bit depending on the region, okay, because you're being compared against other people that are going in for blood work. So, for example, we're a little bit healthier here in Colorado, so our TSH ratios might be a little bit narrower than they are if we were to go to Mississippi or some other state. Right? I don't want to confuse you with that, but they do vary a little bit. But if you were my patient and you came in, I did this test on you, and you were at 0.4 for 5.6, I would say, you know, Roman, you're still within normal. Okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to monitor this, and we'll check you again next year. Which basically means I'm not going to do a damn thing. And if you come see me next year and you're still complaining about thyroid problems, we'll check. Okay? We utilize, us holistic doctors, narrower, what are called functional, for healthy lab ranges. Okay? So for TSH, instead of 0.3 to 5.7, we're at 1.8 to 3.0. It's a narrower, healthier range. This is like pulling up to a stoplight, and the light goes from green to yellow to red. We have a warning built in. And here's the brilliance of this, and you guys tell me what you would do. So, Roma, let's say, again, sorry to pick on you. Let's say you came in to see me, and and your test was you were at 1.9, and you had symptoms of hypothyroidism. Okay. What I would say is, you're not full-blown hypothyroid yet, but you're heading that direction. Luckily, we're nipping in the bud to catch you early. So we can fix this now when it's at its early stage before you have a full-blown disease. Would you like